What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Coach Plays, guys, and we have a great show on tap for you tonight. Let me stop that little back audio there for you. But yeah, guys, we are excited because, guys, we are getting ready to break down. I still don't even know if I can believe myself saying this, but we're about to break down an AFC Championship game that involves the Tennessee Titans and the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, the Tennessee Titans are in the 2020 AFC Championship game. This has been just a heck of a roller coaster ride when you think about starting all the way back when you were 2-4 to where you are now. And it's just Derrick Henry's just carrying us all there. And it's an exciting time to be a Tennessee Titans fan. I mean, when you're going to your work or you're going to your place where you go to school, I'm sure all you're doing, if you're a Tennessee Titans fan right now, you're talking about the Tennessee Titans in the AFC Championship game with a chance, with one win this Sunday, a chance to move on to Super Bowl 54. And I mean, the nerves are already starting to be there for me. I'm sure the nerves are starting to be there for you guys. And so we're going to get in here and we're going to have a fun time doing all this, breaking down this important game, guys. So I appreciate each and every single one of you for being in here. Zachary's in the house. Mario's in the house. Shay Flat is in the house, and he might be backstage. Catfish Terry is in the house. We've got Brayton McQuarrie's in the house. Wavy Austin, the Carver family, guys. So it's going to be a great show, guys. As always, hit that like button. It always helps out the stream. Share the stream out because that helps grows the conversation. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the Coach Plays channel, consider doing so, guys. So as always, get in this conversation, get in the comments, and we're just going to sit in here. We've got some topics we're going to go over. We would love to have your opinion. So let's just get into it, guys. I think it's time to bring back one of our normal hosts we always have on the shows. It's been a couple weeks, and I'm excited that he's back talking Tennessee Titans, and he's getting ready to talk about a Tennessee Titan team that is going to be playing in the AFC Championship game this Sunday. Coach Flat, I appreciate you being here. How are you doing tonight, my boy?
Doing great. How's it going, man? Just excited for this football game. Excited to be here talking to you about it. And like you said, hard to believe the Titans are one win away from playing in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's you still have to constantly like pinch yourself.
You got to tell yourself like every day. It's like, really?
Yeah, I know. I mean, because the Tennessee Titans, like I said, it wasn't long ago, they were 2-4. I mean, 2-4.
Like I told my wife last week when they won, she's like, "What does that mean now?" And I said, "Just means that they're one win away from Super Bowl." And she's like the Super Bowl, the Titans. That's how it's.
She's like, "Well, you got to be not." She's probably like, "You got to be misunderstanding my question because you're telling me that they're one win from Super Bowl, and that can't be right." Like, 100%. So I mean. That's how it is. I mean, it still seems surreal that they're one win away from being in Super Bowl 54. They're one win away from 2 weeks of pregame talk about the Tennessee Titans versus whoever in the Super Bowl. And it would be 20 years to the date when the last time the Tennessee Titans played in the Super Bowl. So it's been incredible. I see you're supporting. You said you didn't know if you could wear it at work, but you've got it on. You've got your Tennessee Titan jersey on.
This is a Titans jersey.
Yep,
and it's a jersey. It's just a Titans jersey.
I'm pretty sure that's a Marcus Mariota jersey. But hey, he is still a part of this team, and I guarantee you, I'm gonna go ahead and just say I guarantee you see Marcus Mariota in this game. It's been like 3 weeks in a row.
They usually do show him over there with the clipboard.
Oh no. He will be in the game plan.
I'm kidding. No, yeah, I wanted to wear some Titans for the stream, and only other Titans stuff that I have. Only other stuff I have are polos. I really don't have any Titans T-shirts or anything, so figured I'd throw on the jersey.
Yeah, hey, throw it on. I mean, it's a good time. We got a lot of people in the house. Like say Catfish Teary's in here. Mario says I'm kind of happy the New York Rangers beat the Islanders last night. So there you got it. I mean, we got some. Okay, we're excited about that. Zachary said, "Who won the 500 subscriber special?" That would be one James Hawk. He wins the hoodie. Cody says we got a jersey wearer. Mario says, "Good luck against the Chiefs." That's what we're hoping. Cheetah is in the house. Says, "Hey, Coach and Coach Flat. Appreciate you being in here, Cheetah." Mario comes with the tough comment. Says, "I think it's going to be the Chiefs versus the 49ers." Let's hope Mario is slightly mistaken on that one.
Yeah.
Jaquil's in the house. Appreciate you very much. Zachary says, honestly, don't care who wins, but sorry, I want the Chiefs to win because if Packers win it, it will be a rematch of Super Bowl I, which would be a very interesting story, and we'll get into this. Hopefully, and my wife doesn't like that comment, hopefully the Tennessee Titans will find a way to get into the Super Bowl. But I will say this. Whoever wins this AFC Championship game, for me, that's who I want to win the Super Bowl. So we'll go ahead and start to kind of dive into this. You got any comments before we kind of get going, Coach Flat?
Ready to roll.
He is ready to roll. So let me get ready and pull this up here as we get into our first topic of the day. And it is the Tennessee Titans history in the making. And guys, when we're talking about history in the making, the Tennessee Titans, we're already seeing history right now, guys. We are already seeing that because this is going to be the third AFC Championship appearance in the Tennessee Titans era. We're not going back to Houston. We're not doing anything like that. But since the Oilers have moved to Nashville, the Tennessee Titans are about to play in their third AFC Championship game. As you can see on the screen, 1999, the Tennessee Titans defeated the Jacksonville Jaguars for not one, but not twice, but for the third time in that year. They beat them 33-14, and that sent them on the trip to Super Bowl 34, where, of course, they came up 1 yard short. But that was a magical season when you think about the Music City Miracle and all those just great experiences there. I mean, for us, I was 8 years old. Coach Flat, we're 8, 7 for you.
Yeah, same. Yep.
So I mean, we were little babies at that point. I remember watching it, but it didn't really get to sink it in. Soak it up. So and then in 2002, I believe, was the year the Tennessee Titans went to the Oakland Raiders to play in another AFC Championship game, and that one did not go well for them, as they lost 24-41, and the Raiders went on to get, I believe they got shellacked by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in that Super Bowl. So, and now here we are. Fast forward 20 years from the last time the Tennessee Titans made the Super Bowl and the last time they won an AFC Championship game. It's the Tennessee Titans at the Kansas City Chiefs. Just as far as what we're talking about right here, Coach Fly, you got any comments?
No, I just think it's awesome. You talk about it's 2020. It's the first time the Titans have played in a conference title game in now 18 years. So just a special time to be a Titans fan. You think about all that we've been through since then as a franchise, all the different coaches, the different quarterbacks, the different players that have come through, and a lot of good players have come through and still weren't able to make it this far. So just a great run that the Titans have been on. And I think an interesting comment by your brother there. All away games, all three. So they've never hosted a conference championship game in Nashville. So hopefully we can change that one day. But no, I think it's awesome. I'm super excited for it, and hopefully the Titans can make their second Super Bowl berth.
No, I mean, I think that's all of what Tennessee Titan Nation is thinking right now. Is just they got to find a way to get one win, and one win, and they're in. They're in the big show. So
I don't feel like, though. I thought when the Titans beat the Ravens last week, I thought that we might get that feeling in Nashville like we got with the Preds, but I don't feel that yet. Do you feel that?
I feel it when you're talking about radio shows and all that stuff. What the Nashville Predators do, and I mean, I haven't been to a watch along or anything like that. I mean, Nashville's doing it as they had it in Wild Horse, and they had it in another area last week. I think they're kind of similar, but I don't know if I sense it like the Nashville Predators yet. But I think Sunday could change everything because they're having a live watch along for everybody to come together on Broadway. And when you talk about inviting people to Broadway, I think there's a chance you could see Broadway kind of filled up like a NHL All-Star, or kind of like how the Stanley Cup. So I think there's a chance you're about to see it really look like what it did here just a couple years ago for the Nashville Predators. So, guys, we'll kind of move into our next topic here, and we're getting into regular season stats, how they kind of tell the story so far. Before we get into this, I'll kind of look at the comments, kind of falling a little bit behind. Mario says, #tighten up. Chase T66 says, get on Xbox. He's wanting us to get on, play some games. We'll be there shortly. Christopher Stone is in the house. He says, hey, what's up, Titans family? Appreciate you very much being in here. Christopher Underdog says, since my Vikings blew it, I guess the Titans have what it takes to win it all. So I think Underdog's rooting for the Tennessee Titans as far as this one's concerning going forward. Cody says, I feel it. Everyone at my work was in Titans gear. Nashville is behind this playoff push. And we had a Tennessee Titan today at the school. So, I mean, I definitely think it's there. Now it's just kind of waiting for everything to kind of come out. So we'll get in here, and I'll ask you to kind of take this one away. Coach Flatt, kind of hit your points on just the stats. This is the Kansas City Chiefs offense versus the Tennessee Titans defense, how they ranked up throughout the season. And then we'll flip-flop it. We'll go Titans offense versus Kansas City's defense. But you can kind of see where, as far as points, yards per game, and passing per game, the Kansas City Chiefs are in the top 6. And the Tennessee Titans, as far as those categories, are not very good as far as. But I will say this is a different Titans defense we're seeing now than what we saw all year. Would you agree on that?
Yeah, I think early in the year, I think Mariota, when Mariota was in, the defense was actually really, really good. And then the first few games that Tannehill played, the defense was still really, really good. I think later in the year, you saw the defense was giving up a lot more. But overall, the defense all year, even when they weren't playing up to their capabilities, has been tremendous in the what you would call bend don't break mold. They allow people at times to get yardage on them. What they don't allow is for people to get in the end zone on them. You even saw it in the Baltimore game. People talk about, well, Lamar Jackson had this many yards and whatever. Yeah, well, Lamar Jackson put the ball in the end zone one time. And most of those yards came when they were losing and Titans were playing a little bit softer coverage and everything. So, I think you've seen them give up yards. You see 21st in yards per game allowed. I don't think that does the Titans defense justice at all. 24th against the pass. I don't think that does their secondary justice either. And, you see 20.7 points allowed per game, but then, just 12 points a game allowed so far in the first 2 playoff games. So
yeah,
they're not going to allow 12 points in this game. The Chiefs are going to score more than 12 points. They probably score more than that 20 mark that they're averaging too. But on the flip side of that, and we'll see it when we flip over here, this might be one of those games where both offenses can have a good day and you see which one can, kind of beat the other. I think a big thing for the Titans is, hopefully they can control the clock a little bit. But it's kind of a misconception, too, with the Titans. A lot of people think, well, they got Derrick Henry. They got this big running game. Their motive is to control the clock, win time of possession, but not really the case. A lot of times when they're running
Well, a lot
the
of
ball.
times that running game can hit them in one play. I mean,
Yeah.
Derrick Henry has shown it.
And a lot of times they're snapping the ball very quickly after the run and just running it again. The Titans actually lost time of possession this year more than they won it. Before the first playoff game, they had lost time of possession 7 times in a row to end the season. So they don't always dominate time of possession like people think. But I think this is a game where you keep 15 on the sideline as much as you can. And you try to go to work with Henry and try to see if you can limit the times that Patrick Mahomes can touch the ball. I think you saw it in the game against the Texans. You saw what an explosive quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, can do. You shut him down 24-0, but you gave him so many possessions that eventually he was going to find the end zone. And it's kind of similar to what happened in the national championship game, where you see Clemson come out with such a good game plan against Joe Burrow and that LSU offense. They forced 4 punts in the first quarter and 2 minutes or something, which is more than LSU had done all year.
Yep.
But they still gave up 28 points in the first half because LSU got so many possessions. Titans can't play a game like that this week and cannot allow the Chiefs to have a lot of possessions in this football game. They're going to have to keep that offense on the sideline.
No, I absolutely agree. We'll switch it over here now to the Titans offense versus the Kansas City Chiefs defense to kind of hit on that. I 100% agree right there with you as far as this has to be the game where they do chew the clock. Everybody wants to know, well, how are you going to stop Patrick Mahomes? How are you going to slow that offense down with the weapons of Tyreek Hill, Kelsey, and then Hardman? Where the problem is you're really not going to stop it. You can only slow it down, and I think the best way to slow down an offense like that and slow down a MVP of last year of Patrick Mahomes is you just got to keep them off the field, and that's where extending drives. You need those 80-yard drives, those 12 to 15 play drives that chew up 8 minutes off the clock, and somehow keep that team, cold over there on the sidelines. We'll talk about this later in the stream. It's going to be a cold day, and the one way to stay warmed up is constantly playing. Well, if that offense is sitting on the bench for 8 minutes at a time, that would always help out the Tennessee Titans. So we got here the Titans offense, how they ranked up in the season against the Kansas City. Matching up against the Kansas City defense, points per game, the Titans were 10th in the league. Yards per game, 12th in the league. Passing yards per game, 21st in the league. And then the big one right there, rushing yards per game at 138.9 yards a game, sitting up at third ranked in the league. Points allowed, Kansas City Chiefs actually not too bad. I've always said I felt like the Kansas City Chiefs defense is very leaky. I find that stat to be a little misleading that they were in the top 10 as far as points allowed. And then 349 yards, they're 17th. Passing yards, they're not too bad as far as how they ranked in the season, as far as 8th in the league for averaging 221 yards passing per game. But the Tennessee Titans have struggled passing the ball. I say they struggled, but Tannehill has made the plays when he needed to in this playoff run. But the Baltimore Ravens and the New England Patriots have better defensive back core than I think what the Kansas City Chiefs defense has. So I think there's still more potential plays there through the air for the Tennessee Titans. And then the big stat, like I say, Titans third in the league in rushing, Kansas City Chiefs 26th in the league in rushing yards allowed per game. So I of course, that bottom line, that bottom stat right there is what I think is, it's going to be the telltale of this story, I think, at the end of the day. What do you think, Coach Flatt?
Yeah, that's going to be the big one there. Can the Chiefs stop the Titans running game with Derrick Henry? No. Can they limit the Titans running game is going to be the question. Can they hold Derrick Henry to 25 to 27 carries for 105 to 110 yards? Can they hold him to a 3.5 to 4 yard per carry average? That's going to be the question of the day on whether or not the Chiefs defense has success. If Derrick Henry has another game where he has 27 to 30 carries for 200-ish yards. I think the Titans are going to be playing in the Super Bowl, and we'll talk about it a little bit later. But I just think that's going to be the huge one. The pass per game, I think, is a little misleading. They were a lot better passing the ball. The Titans were after Tannehill came in. They haven't been in the playoffs like you talked about, but they haven't really attempted to be. Like you said, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Why would the Titans and Arthur Smith start throwing the ball so far in these playoffs when nobody has stopped Derrick Henry? He's getting 5 or 6 yards every time he touches the ball. Just go ahead and keep giving him the ball and drive the ball down the field. So I think they've done a great job putting a game plan together. You saw but then you think about it though. Henry in the first game gets the Titans down there on that first touchdown drive, gets them to about the 16-yard line. They get into a backed up 3rd and 14 situation. What's Tannehill do? He converts 3rd and 14. Terrific catch by Jonnu Smith. Come back the next possession. He hits it over the top to Khalif Raymond. They're up 14-0, not on the back of Derrick Henry, on the arm of Ryan Tannehill. And a lot of people forget about that. They jumped on Henry's back and rode him to 195 rushing yards after that. But, they jumped out to a lead with their quarterback play. And obviously great play by Jonnu Smith. But that's going to be the key. I think Tannehill is going to have a pretty big day. I think Tannehill is going to have a good day through the air. I think he's going to be effective. And I think this Titans offense is going to be effective. I think that the big key here is, can they be more effective than Kansas City's offense that we just saw put up 51 points against a good Houston Texans defense? That's no slouch over there in Houston, and we know that all too well as they won the AFC South in which the Titans play. So I think it's going to be very interesting. I think this is, like I said, when I was talking about Kansas City's offense, I think this is going to be a day of that both offenses can have a little bit of success. Going to come down to which one executes more and which defense can kind of limit the other offense a little bit. So excited to see it, but I think it's going to be I think there's going to be some points in this one.
I tend to agree. Crazy Picklers Gaming, appreciate you being here. Rage Killer Randy, appreciate you being here. He says, I like the stream. Rage Killer Randy, I don't think I've ever seen you, so I appreciate you joining the Coach Plays tonight, man. I appreciate you very much. Before we move on to our next topic, I'm going to bring this comment up by Jayden L. It says, hopefully Adoree plays and most of the others that were questionable and able to play. I don't know for a fact, but there's no way Adoree doesn't play in this game to me. I think when I heard about, or am I thinking of Logan Ryan? Logan Ryan might have been the one who had an illness and he's fine. Mm-hmm. But
that's right.
Yeah, there were a lot of people on the questionable list. Am I wrong to think that I don't think there's any chance that Adoree doesn't play in this game? I tend to think that the Jayon Brown arrow is now starting to point more upward than it has been for the past couple weeks. And Humphreys, I think it's pointing more upward, but I still don't know about Humphreys. And at this point, I think if Humphreys comes back, I think it adds a little bit onto your third down, but I don't think it's going to kill you if Humphreys doesn't come back because the Titans have been on a roll without him. But as far as the injury bug is concerned, what you got anything to comment on that?
I kind of agree. I mean, Logan Ryan's going to play, with the illness. He's going to, he'll be out there, he's going to play with that. Adoree Jackson with the foot, I think he's going to play. I don't see any reason to think that he won't. David Long, he was questionable. Listed on the injury report today. He finished out the other game strong against Baltimore. I think he'll be in there. Conklin was on there. Conklin's going to play. Rashaan Evans was on there. I think Rashaan Evans plays. Then you get in.
You absolutely can't have not play is Rashaan Evans. If he, for some reason, just shocks everybody and doesn't play in this game, I think the Titans instantly start out down 10-0. I think you almost spot the Chiefs 10 points if you lose him.
Yeah. And then I don't think I'm missing anybody other than Jayon Brown and Adam Humphreys. Correct me if I'm wrong, but then that's the two that you get into and whether or not that you think they're going to play. I think the other ones will. Jayon Brown and Adam Humphries. It'd be great to have them. Humphries caught the game-winning touchdown against the Chiefs in the regular season when the Titans were able to get that huge win to keep moving on towards the playoffs. So that was big. One of the, it was the biggest play of the year for Adam Humphries in a Titans uniform. So be great to have him. I don't think that Adam Humphries is too big of a loss if he's not able to go. I think the one that you'd rather see go is Jayon Brown. You'd rather have him right there back beside Rashaan Evans and the rest of the Titans linebackers on that second level. They didn't have him in the first game when they were able to beat the Chiefs. So we've seen the Titans beat the Chiefs without him. But, Jayon Brown is one of the heart and souls of this Titans defense, and they really, really need him to play in order to see if they can kind of limit this Chiefs offense a little bit and do the best they can.
I totally agree. Like say, I think if Humphries doesn't play, it doesn't hurt you because you haven't seen him for quite a few weeks now, and the Titans are kind of rolling without him. But if he does play, I think he can add a lot more elements to what you can call on third down, because I still think he's probably the best route runner on this Tennessee Titan team, and he's extremely tough to guard on that third down, those third down plays. So we'll kind of move into our next.
Real quick, I don't want to talk about this too much, but I do think it's interesting since we're doing an NFL stream. Zachary said Giants just hired Jason Garrett, so Joe Judge has hired Jason Garrett as his offensive coordinator in New York. So it's an interesting little tidbit there. So Jason Garrett goes to Cowboys division rival there as the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting story to kind of pick up on. So I mean, he leaves the Cowboys, he goes to the Giants. Rage saying how is everyone in the chat? Looking like we're having a lot of fun in here, guys. So I appreciate each and every single one of you who decides to hop in here. As always, guys, hit that like button, share the stream to grow the conversation, and if you haven't yet subscribed to the Coach Plays, consider doing so. So we'll move on to a segment we got here, weather effect. So guys. There's a lot of people out there who think A, the Kansas City Chiefs won't be affected, and B, all of a sudden the Titans are going to show up and they're going to be completely affected by this, and they're going to be frostbitten and whatnot. I don't buy that. So right now they're talking about the high in Kansas City is going to be around 23. Kickoff is at 2, and the low is 8. So you're probably talking about 20 degrees, maybe 19 at kickoff. And then maybe by the end of the game, I would say it gets closer to 15, maybe. It's not going to get all the way to 8. That's going to be way at night. So I think you're talking about there. But in my opinion, yes, we saw Patrick Mahomes have great success passing the ball in a snow game. But in a snow, it doesn't quite honestly mean like, a lot of times it can snow just in 30-degree weather. I would have to go back and see what the degrees was that in. But I driving to work today, and they was talking about it on 102.5, and they were saying quarterbacks would almost rather play in snow because you get a little bit of moisture in it. But the freezing cold, dry freezing cold, and that ball gets hard. I think it can affect Mahomes a little bit. It's also going to affect those wide receivers. But where I think it can make the biggest impact is, like, that's not going to affect Derrick Henry. It's going to affect the people who have to tackle Derrick Henry, because tackling Derrick Henry has already shown that's a tall task. And now you got to tackle him in maybe potentially below 20-degree weather. So I think weather's got to have something to be talked about. But a lot of like media people out there on ESPN, they think the Titans are going to get too affected. The Titans play the type of style of ball that is not going to get affected by cold weather, in my opinion.
Yeah, and we talked about this earlier today at work, and I completely agree. I think that I don't think the weather's going to affect Mahomes. I think Mahomes is going to be fine. I think the Chiefs' offense is going to be fine. I don't think it's going to affect Tannehill. I think that where it affects the game, like we talked about, is people trying to tackle Derrick Henry. That is a big man. That is very cold weather. You're talking about making something that's extremely difficult in the National Football League even more difficult. And why, people might ask why. It hurts to tackle people like Derrick Henry. It hurts even more if it's freezing cold and there's no give. There's no give. So, you're just hitting solid cold rock. So I think that's where you get into it and you say, well, maybe if somebody doesn't want to tackle Derrick Henry, or they're a little hesitant to tackle Derrick Henry, that's going to kill you. And Derrick Henry, it's going to be, yeah, sure, maybe he feels hits a little bit more. Maybe he's cold, but I think in the majority of Derrick Henry is going to feast off that and see in the body language of the Kansas City Chiefs players how much he's wearing them down physicality wise whenever he's running the football in this weather. So I think if it benefits either team, I think it's the Titans offense. I don't think that the narrative fits that it's going to affect the Titans in some negative way. Now, an interesting point that you could bring up is the kicking game. I think the Titans.
Yeah, Jayden had this comment right here.
I didn't see that. Yeah, I didn't see that.
Jayden brings up the comment: punting and kicking, both teams would affect most, I think. So he thinks that the kicking game, and you've got as far as the Tennessee Titans, of course, you've got the All-Pro punter Brett Kern. We'll see how that kind of affects it. We'll see how. I mean, that field's going to be hard, so you're going to see a lot of punts, bounce. I think you're not going to really see them die. But then you start talking about field goals, and here's the thing: the Titans. What's our kicker's name? Joseph.
I don't even know his name. Yeah. So he hasn't attempted a field goal since he's only been signed.
Yeah. So that's another question: is like, eventually you think that it's going to come down to the Tennessee Titans are going to have to make some crucial field goals to eventually win a game either this week or potentially the Super Bowl. And that worries you because he hasn't even had to attempt a field goal in this postseason or since he's been a Titan. And of course, this cold weather could affect that.
So it just that's the biggest thing for me. I don't, it could affect. It's going to affect Brett Kern a little bit, but I'm not worried about Brett Kern. He's the best punter in the world. He's going to be fine. What I do worry about is anything remotely long for Greg Joseph terrifies me. I mean, I'm talking anything over 35, 37 yards. I mean, yeah, you're talking about hitting a kick in freezing cold weather. Now, I don't know if they're going to have warm kicking balls or not. I don't know I honestly couldn't tell you the NFL's policy on that and whether or not you're allowed to heat balls, before you kick them. If you're not, then
you might know.
What?
The Patriots might know.
Yeah. But just assuming that he's going to be kicking a cold football, that's going to be a tough task, not only for Greg Joseph, but for everybody that's kicking, whether it's in the field goal game or the punting game, like Jayden said. So that's a great comment by him, and absolutely 100% correct.
Yeah, I agree. So that's going to be interesting to see. Just think if this game kicked off at 7:00, which I was hoping, then you would even be talking about, a lot more how this weather could affect the game. But of course, when it comes down to it, I think this is your primetime game. I think people's going to be more tuned into this game, just in my opinion. Maybe not. Maybe that's me being biased. But ultimately, the reason why the Titans are playing the early game is it's the other games in San Francisco. So if you had them start at 2, it's really more of a 12 or 11 o'clock kickoff at San Francisco. I don't think they wanted that. So that's why I think the reasoning behind why they've got the 49er game.
Another thing, Rocky says, and I saw Mike VRABEL say this, and I just want to touch on this because I disagree with this. VRABEL had said that he counts the extra points that Greg Joseph has made as field goals, and you see on the surface why a coach might say that in the NFL today, because they've moved the extra points back. Here's where that statement is wrong.
It's still nothing like what a field goal is,
of course, and here's where it's wrong. Not only that, but you're sitting in practice and you see kickers now in practice are practicing extra points. That's like a golfer that's hitting the ball off of the tee. He's doing the same stroke every single time. He's practicing that, making it perfect. when you get into a actual field goal, not only you have the heightened pressure, you're kicking for 3 points rather than just 1 point after a touchdown. You're also trying to think about in your mind what you have to do differently on that kick as opposed to the extra point. Am I on the left hash? Am I in the middle? Am I right hash?
How long is the kick? How short is the kick? Which tells you, do you got to be lower? Do you got to be a higher? So yeah,
there's
it's
a lot more factors go into it, and that's where I disagree with VRABEL on that. And to be honest, I don't even think
to constantly install more.
That's what it is. And I was gonna say that I don't even believe that VRABEL believes that. Because we saw in earlier in the year he said some things like he felt like Ryan Suckup was doing fine, and he doesn't believe that. He's just not going to throw anybody under the bus in the to the media, and he's now using that narrative, kind of pushing that narrative to kind of talk Greg Joseph into, hey, you're fine, you've kicked the, make sure that he doesn't have any heightened pressure.
Man. You got to constantly talk him up, and I mean, I'm sure the kicker's even thinking about this right now. That he's been on the Titans for how many weeks now, and he still hasn't even had to go out there in one pressure situation and have to kick a field goal. So
yeah, I know, Rocky, you weren't agreeing with VRABEL. And you were just mentioning it. I just wanted to.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
It's great. Yeah, it's a great point to bring up that he said that, because I thought that was an interesting thing to touch on. So
absolutely, we'll kind of go through a couple comments real quick before we kind of move on. Victor, servant of the living God's in here. Appreciate you very much, Victor, for being in here. I love this comment. We're this kind of going back to the cold weather comment. Jayden says 6'5", 245. Ain't no one wanting to tackle that guy. I mean, I wouldn't want to tackle him, but
yeah, no, you're absolutely right, Jayden. I think that's like we talked about, an excellent point. So it's going to be interesting, and we saw, the Chiefs haven't gone to the extent that the Ravens have, but the Chiefs have said, a little bit throughout the week that they want to have a different game plan, not only that the other two teams have had in the playoffs, but that they had in the first matchup with Derrick Henry. Well, yeah, well, say it all you want, but when you get put in that situation, as Earl Thomas did last week, do you reach both arms out like as far as you can, extended towards Derrick Henry, and try to arm tackle him, or do you go down low or put your head in there and try to really tackle the man? And we saw the business decision that Earl Thomas made. So we'll see if the Chiefs and what they want to go and which route they want to go with Derrick Henry.
One good thing for the Chiefs I don't think we've had any players on the Kansas City Chiefs come out and say, they're gonna definitely come at Derrick Henry.
They haven't said anything like that. Just they've said what they needed to say, but
so Zachary, we'll get to our score predictions at the end of this stream. I do also, before we get into the score predictions later in the stream, Coach Flatt, I want to hit on who do you think is the key player for a Tennessee Titans win. So we'll get into that.
Okay.
Rocky says, I think it's going to come down which team's defense can make more plays. I got Byard as game MVP. And I mean, by far, Kevin Byard needs to be an MVP, because I think it comes down to, once again, the Tennessee Titans need to win the turnover battle. I mean, that's what really catapulted them to get that Baltimore Ravens win, was how they just continue to frustrate Lamar Jackson and force him into 2 interceptions and a goal. So yeah, no, absolutely. I definitely think they have got to continue to win that turnover battle, and that's only going to help them move on as far as being able to potentially get a win over the Kansas City Chiefs. So, all right, so we'll kind of move on into our next topic here. Andy Reid versus Mike VRABEL. Andy Reid has won a heck of a lot of football games in the NFL. There's some debate out there. Is he a Hall of Fame coach? I 100% think he is. Some would say that he's not a Hall of Fame coach until he wins the Super Bowl. But I think the amount of wins he's got should already get him there. And I still think he could win a Super Bowl soon. Hopefully not this year. And then you got Mike VRABEL, Of course, only a 2-year coach, but I mean, he has really turned this team around from the 2-4, and there's a lot of credit that should be put on him for that turnaround. Him and a John Robinson, and of course, because I mean, at the end of the day, Mike Vrabel had a tough call, a tough decision to pull the Marcus Mariota era and start the Tannehill era, and if you don't make that pull, we're probably not we're 100% probably not talking about the Tennessee Titans in the AFC Championship game. And, and that is a tough decision because, of course, if Tannehill comes out and he looks like trash, then you got to go back to Mariota, and that could all of a sudden start the downward trend for Mike Vrabel. So it took a lot of, guts to make that move. The biggest thing is, I guess when we're talking about Andy Reid and Mike Vrabel, it kind of goes into Andy Reid's past as far as I think he's 1-5 in conference championship games. And then it kind of goes into Mike Vrabel and the momentum he's rolling into this game. So when we bring up this topic, what kind of goes through your mind, Coach Flatt?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're two they're two opposites as far as coaching. You got the defensive mindset, defensive background of Mike Vrabel versus the offensive guru and Andy Reid. You talk about Andy Reid's postseason record of 13-14 now, but 1-5 in conference championships. As far as Mike Vrabel, I think Mike Vrabel last year and early this year had a lot of growing up to do as a head coach. I didn't think that he was a very good in-game coach at all. I thought that I think he's made several decisions throughout the course of the 2 years that are not only questionable but downright awful as far as in-game decisions. But that being said, he's done so much better on the back half of this year of not just, he said earlier in the year, if we feel like we want to go for it, we're going to go for it every time. He's done a lot better job of late in the year and throughout the playoff run, making the best decision for his team and not just going off of, well, I think we can get it. Let's go ahead and go for it.
Yeah, he had that very aggressive mindset, which a lot of times you like, but there were times when you seen that aggressiveness really put the Titans in some bad situations.
Yeah, absolutely. So, at the end of the day, though, for me, I'd rather have a coach that is good for the 6 days leading up to Sunday than I would have a coach that's good for those 3 hours that we see on TV. And Mike Vrabel, for those 6 days leading up to the 3 hours on Sunday, is everything that you want in a head football coach in the National Football League. I think you see it in his body language, the way that he speaks to his players, the way that he speaks to the media. I think you see it in practice when they show videos of him being very hands-on and physical and very a teacher. He's still got that teaching mentality of being a coach. Sometimes that goes away with a head coach. Sometimes that can even go away with a coordinator. But he's still very much a teacher of the game of football. And I think that that's one of the very best things about Mike Vrabel is that throughout his life, since he's transitioned away from being a player into a coach, he's never lost that side of him after going from a position coach to a coordinator and now a head coach. And I think that's a wonderful thing, and I think that's a rare thing. That is where you become a player's coach. That is where you get guys in that Titans locker room that really want to play for and fight for a guy like Mike Vrabel. And that's where you get that family camaraderie that you see with the Titans, where you see Mike Vrabel waiting outside the locker room after a divisional playoff win
Always good to see
against the Ravens, and he literally waits for every single player to get into that locker room so that he can shake their hands, give them a hug, and give them a high five, tell them they did a great job. I think that's absolutely awesome and wonderful, and that's why I say, he's the perfect coach for the Titans in those 6 days, and that's why at the end of the day, I'm willing to live with some of the decisions that he makes that are questionable in those 3 hours that we see on TV, because I think that he's the perfect guy for the rest of the week. And I think that that's more important in the long run. Andy Reid, as you talked about, great coach, great offensive coach, hasn't won a Super Bowl. And we'll be able to see this week. I think it's a great coaching matchup. I think it's for us, as people that coach the game of football, I think it's wonderful to see an offensive guy go with a defensive guy. You can always love to see a great offensive coordinator, great defensive coordinator go at it. Same thing in this one with offensive head coach and defensive head coach. Is what are they thinking? What are they doing now? What are they? They're always trying to, it's a chess match between those guys, always trying to outwit the other one. So it'd be fascinating to watch and see kind of what these guys put together on Sunday.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Just a couple comments. Rocky says VRABEL is the best coach the Titans have had, in my opinion. And I mean, I think there's a lot of people who already are going there. I know Jeff Fisher kind of gets a bad rap on some things, but I mean, and of course, if VRABEL goes and sends the Titans to the Super Bowl, then he's obviously in that conversation, and in a lot of people's minds, of course, they're gonna. And then if he wins, I mean, you can't deny those sorts of things. So, Rocky also says, have you ever seen a team, a Titans team, playing with this much confidence in all your years of watching? Yeah, like say back when we were younger, of course, the 99 and the biggest ones were 2001, 2010, 2002. Those were some really good football teams. I mean, of course, the 2002 team and even the 2008 team, I thought they were playing with confidence.
I thought the 2001 team is the one. I think that the 2001 team that lost to the Ravens in the divisional round, I think that might be the best team the Titans have ever had. And you hear former Titans talk about that team and how going into that game they said to themselves, "Hey, if we beat Baltimore tonight, we're going to walk through the Super Bowl." These are the two best teams in the NFL playing tonight between us and the Ravens. Let's go beat the Ravens and go win the Super Bowl. And you saw the Ravens, you saw what happened after they beat the Titans that year. They walked through everybody else onto the Super Bowl after going through a war against the Titans. I think other Titans teams have played with a lot of confidence. Definitely, probably since Jeff Fisher left, I think this is definitely the most the Titans have played with confidence. So, going back to 2008, I think this team's a lot better than that team, and I think this team's probably got more confidence. And the reason I say that has a lot to do with the quarterback play. I think the quarterback play on this team's just better than it was in 2008, which gives them a better chance in these games.
Yeah. No, I agree, and I just think Andy Reid's of course, he's a really good ball coach. And like say, if the Chiefs end up winning this game, I think I want the Chiefs to win it all, because I think I got a lot of respect for Andy Reid, and I would like to see him win one. I don't want to see him win it this year, though, with the Titans being right there. I think it's just going to be a good game without a lot of. I think you're going to see two really good coaching styles. I think you're not going to see a whole lot of dumb mistakes, in my opinion. I think the mistakes that the Chiefs made last week against the Texans weren't really coaching mistakes. I think it was just a lot of unfortunate things that happened. So I just think you're going to see a well-coached game when it comes to this Sunday, and hopefully Mike VRABEL finds a way to beat a very well experienced coach. And I think Mike VRABEL has the respect of Andy Reid. Like Andy Reid, I know, like he's already spoken a lot of highly about the Tennessee Titans, but he has spoken throughout this week really highly on Mike VRABEL and how he coaches.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, we'll kind of transition here into our next topic. Let me pull it up here just 1 second, guys. As always, appreciate you being here. Hit that like button and share out the stream. That way it constantly grows this conversation. So we'll bring up the next topic. We got a couple more topics for you. Let me pull up that image right here. And we're talking about Derrick Henry versus Patrick Mahomes. Of course, neither one's going to be on the field at the exact same time, unless all of a sudden you see a Derrick Henry in at linebacker, which, he could possibly play some linebacker, but I would not take that bet. when we're talking about this is it just goes to which one's more important to the team. And that's going to be a tough one to answer. Derrick Henry for the Tennessee Titans or Patrick Mahomes of the Kansas City Chiefs? Do the Chiefs do they have to stop Derrick Henry for them to beat the Titans? And do the Titans have to stop Patrick Mahomes for us to beat the Chiefs? I think you're definitely talking about both key players on each team. So at the end of the day, who do you think means more to that certain team?
I think that I side with the quarterback. I side with Mahomes is more important to the Chiefs. And trust me when I say that is so hard for me to say because that'd be taking Derrick Henry off the Titans, which would mean Dion Lewis would be the future back, and I shoot myself in the head. So at the end of the day, though, the quarterback is the more important player for his team. And yes, people are going to comment and people are going to say, well, the Chiefs, played 4 or 5 games without Patrick Mahomes this year. They did fine. Yeah. If Patrick Mahomes goes down, let's just say hypothetically he doesn't play after the first play. He, hopefully this doesn't happen, but he gets an injury on the first play and doesn't play. I'll go ahead and tweet it out. The Titans are going to the Super Bowl. I mean, they're not going to beat the Titans without Patrick Mahomes. So the Derrick Henry, very important to the Titans, but he touches the ball on almost every play. Patrick Mahomes touches the ball on every play. He impacts the game more. Now, when you get down to it's a different question. Which one needs, which team needs to stop the other one more? Then that I might lean towards the Chiefs need to do a better job against Henry. We've seen the Titans beat the Chiefs this year when Patrick Mahomes threw for over 400 yards. We have not seen anyone beat the Titans when Derrick Henry explodes for a game of 150 plus. So I think that might be the pivotal thing is I think that the more important matchup is probably the Chiefs defense versus Derrick Henry rather than Titans defense versus Mahomes. But if you're going to take off one of the players on the team and say which team is affected more, I think the Chiefs are affected more by losing Patrick Mahomes than the Titans would be. I think they'd be in better situation with Tannehill still there at quarterback. So
I tend to agree. Real quick, Derek Roberts in the house. Appreciate you being here. GWG Pitbulls in the house. And Brayton, I want to get to your question because I think it's an interesting one. I tend to agree that Mahomes slightly means more to the Chiefs than Derrick Henry. And we've already gotten some comments about, well, if Derrick Henry, like Rocky has a comment right here, says without Derrick Henry, we don't have much of a threat anymore. Chiefs still have an elite offense besides Mahomes. I tend to disagree because we have seen it throughout the regular season that Ryan Tannehill is fully capable of throwing the football and putting up points. I mean, so while, yes, it all kind of revolves around a Derrick Henry, I definitely believe that without Mahomes, yeah, they might have weapons around them, but it's just all of a sudden the way you have to play that offense is totally different because you don't have to focus too much on the breaking the plays down and having those unrealistic Madden plays. What a Patrick Mahomes can bring you. Trey Perry's in the house. He gives a big muscle thumbs up. So I appreciate you very much, Trey Perry, being in here. Coach,
that wasn't his
Trey
first
Perry.
comment.
What's that?
It wasn't his first comment.
I didn't see his first one. Oh. The horns are going off. The sirens are going off. I love it. So before we get into our last topic here, Brayton had an interesting question here. He says, who is the most likely to choke or not play as good as they need to between them? So I think that kind of goes into who has the most chance of getting shut down. I will say this. I think they're both going to have a good day.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, if you talk about, I don't see Derrick Henry choking. I mean, he's playing running back. I mean, he's not going to I mean, what's he going to do? He's not going to miss his gap. He's not going to just stop running hard. Patrick Mahomes, we talk about it all the time. The quarterback is the most scrutinized player on the football field, win or lose. If he wins, it's all because of the quarterback. If they lose, it's all because of Patrick Mahomes. So you talk about how great Patrick Mahomes is. He's not there yet. He's too young, but if he can't win one early in his career, that question of can Mahomes win the big game will always be there. So I think if you're Mahomes, there is a little bit of pressure on you in this game. You do want to say, prove to yourself early in your career that, hey, yeah, I can go and beat, I can go win an AFC Championship. I can go win a Super Bowl. The more you lose games like this, the less confidence you have in games like this. I firmly believe that, especially at the quarterback position. I don't think it matters so much at the other ones, but I think that, if you talk about, who could, I guess, fold under pressure, who's more likely, I'd go with Mahomes just because of the position that he plays.
Yeah, no, I like say, I agree with that. And I think it comes down to that kind of question comes down to which defense really shows up and really limits the other one the best. And I just think you're probably going to see a really good stat line from Mahomes. I think you're going to see a really good stat line for a Derrick Henry. And so I think it kind of just comes back to who protects the football the most, who has the biggest plays as far as turnovers, who wins that turnover battle. And, I think that could be how the story ends up unfolding. So we'll get into our last topic here. And before we get into game predictions, or when I ask you your game prediction, Coach Flatt, you can kind of hit on this first one that we're talking about. Real quick, Anthony Holmes is in here. Appreciate you very much, Anthony. Also, Classic Ride Society, never seen you. Appreciate you being here very much. He said Titans have had a long sustained touchdown drives to keep Mahomes off the field and on the sidelines with 20-degree weather. It also wears the defense out. So, I mean, we hit on those topics earlier. So, I mean, great point. So, here, getting ready to end the stream after we hit this last topic, game predictions. So, as you go into your game prediction, Coach Flatt, I want you to pick out either one or two key players to this game as far as how are they going to help the team that's going to win in this game? Whether you have the Titans winning or whether you have the Kansas City Chiefs winning, who do you think, who's the player that's going to be the biggest reason why that team's going to come out on top? And if you could, give us a score.
Yeah, sure. So for the Titans, I think I'll give you one offense and one defense. We'll do that. So I think offensively, you talk about who's the most important player for the Titans to be able to win this game. I'm not going to give you a cop-out answer and say Derrick Henry. We've talked about him for an hour now. I'm not going to give you a cop-out answer and say Ryan Tannehill. He's a quarterback. We all know that the quarterback needs to play well in an AFC Championship game to win. What I will say is that for the Titans to win the game, you need to be able to have the passing game working. I don't think that the Titans are going to be able to win this game with under 100 passing yards like they have in the first two. So in my mind, we've seen AJ Brown explode this rookie year. We saw in the Baltimore game them they used some bracket on AJ Brown, and I think in order to get this passing game working, the Titans offense has to be able to get some production from elsewhere. So I'll say Jonnu Smith needs to have a big game for the Titans and take some pressure off of Ryan Tannehill. He can be an easy target. We've seen him use him in the screen game. We've seen him use him in the vertical passing game up the seam against zone coverage. We've seen him last week when he threw the pass on third and, I think it was 3rd and 14 to Jonnu, and he made the unbelievable catch in the end zone. So I think Jonnu Smith needs to have a big game. Of course, Coach T is absolutely correct. Brett Kern, that's an excellent choice as somebody that needs to have a big game. Brett Kern
flipping the field position right there.
Absolutely.
I mean, he has been probably one of the best Titans weapon that no one wants to talk about just because he's a punter.
Absolutely. And that's this Coach T making a very knowledgeable decision there with Brett Kern.
And he also comes in with Jay on.
Jay on, yeah, and when the Titans do get stopped, they need, as he's referring to have Brett Kern back them up and flip the field as much as possible to make Patrick Mahomes and that Chiefs offense work as hard as they can for every point that they have to earn in this game. So I think that's an excellent decision, excellent choice. Brayton says AJ Brown. Defensively, Coach T goes with Jayon Brown. I'm going to go with Harold Landry. Harold Landry had the big breakout season in the regular season for the Titans. He was able to get to that 10 sack number this year for the Titans. And he's been a little quieter in the playoffs. I think it's pivotal in this game for the Titans defense, if they're going to have some success against this Chiefs passing attack and this Chiefs offense, to be able to get pressure. And not only get pressure, but to be able to get pressure just from a four-man rush, not have to bring those five and even those higher level pressures and sacrifice bodies on the back end. They want to have as much speed out there as possible. Do the Titans against this Chiefs offense that has Tyreek Hill and McCole Hardman. In order to do that, I think a guy like Harold Landry, setting the edge, bringing pressure off the edge, making Patrick Mahomes uncomfortable with just a 3 or 4 man rush would be a massive, massive difference maker for the Titans in this game, and be able to help out that secondary that's going to have such a tough time this week with this Chiefs passing game. So I think Harold Landry on defense. I go with Jonnu Smith on offense, just as that blanket guy, that check down guy, that safety valve for Ryan Tannehill, as I look for Ryan Tannehill to need to have a little bit bigger game, a little bit more footprint in this game as he has so far in the first two. And so those are going to be my guys. If the Titans
prediction time,
if the Titans are going to get a win, that need to step up big time. So we go prediction time here, and who's going to win this game? Who's going to the Super Bowl? And I'm going to shock some people here. Okay. The Chiefs are 7-point favorites in this game. Let's not make any mistake about it. They are the favorite. They're playing at home. Titans are still the 6th seed in the playoff. They're a big underdog here. That being said, I'm not only going to go with a Titans victory. The Titans win by 2 touchdowns, 42-27. I think the Titans offense explodes in this game. They put up 42 points against the Chiefs. They have a great day at the office. I think Ryan Tannehill comes through big. Of course, Derrick Henry's going to be big. I think the Titans win 42-27 and totally flip the spread around, similar to the way they did in Baltimore. And the Titans advance to their 2nd Super Bowl appearance since moving to Nashville.
You got me on that one, Coach Flat. You told me you're going to shock some people. You told me you're going to shock some people with your prediction. So I thought you were going to go on the Kansas City Chiefs side. And I thought I was going to have to hold some people back in the chat. Guys, if you are in the chat right now and you love Coach Flat's prediction, hit us up with a hashtag Tighten Up. So, all right. So now I've got the floor as far as this real quick. Catfish Cherry's in the house. He also, someone made the comment about week 10. I think he brings up a great comment. He says, you can throw week 10 100%. Out. This is a whole different game and different teams. By far, Kansas City Chiefs, way better than they were in week 10. Tennessee Titans, way better than they were in week 10. So I agree with that. Float Dizzle's in the house. Appreciate you being here, Float. Mouse C's in the house. Appreciate you. She likes your predictions. She says a very solid prediction. And Trevor's coming in with the Titans up. He's also got the Titans 31-28. We've got some Titans in here. I mean, of course, we've got some Tennessee Titan fans in here. We've got a lot of hashtag Titans up. So as far as my game prediction and key players, I'll kind of keep it. Actually, I'm an offensive guy, of course. I love the offense. But I'm going to keep this one on the defensive side. I think the key player on the Kansas City side is, and I don't know if we've actually said his name, and I don't know why we haven't, but it's Travis Kelce. I think, of course, Mahomes is who he is, but you take a Travis Kelce away from Patrick Mahomes, and things can get different very quickly. And I mean, it showed 2 years ago when the Titans went in Kansas City, and he actually got knocked out of that game. And it changed the whole style of how that game was played. So when I think of Travis Kelce and, yes, it might be, Mahomes who's driving the car, but it's Travis Kelce who's the gas that makes that thing go. So when I think of Travis Kelce and what the Tennessee Titans have to do to contain that and slow that offense down, because I also think someone like a Hardman and Hill, they kind of feed off Travis Kelce getting a lot of those short to intermediate, very quick underneath routes, who can then take a 5-yard route that can then blow it off. So where I see as far as this is concerned, I think it's two key players, and I don't even know who they're going to have on it. I think it's Logan Ryan. I think they're going to have one of those corners. They're going to be in Travis Kelce's face throughout the whole game, whether it's Logan Ryan, Adoree Jackson, and then maybe with some safety help over top. I think whoever they have matched up on Travis Kelce has to be the one that goes off. I think he has to have that great game, and I think it's also a Rashad Evans who could see a Rashad Evans. I'm not a very big fan of having a linebacker being matched up on a.
I think Jayon is the guy that they have used in the past a lot on tight ends. It might be why T said Jayon.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of having a linebacker matched up with a Travis Kelce. But I'm also, and that's what makes Travis Kelce so good. He's a mismatch for a corner as well. I mean,
it's tough. Do you go?
And it might be Byard. Maybe they have Byard rolled down in there, and I think he's kind of a tweener in between. A corner and a.
I think the Titans, they throw a lot of different looks at him. Most likely, hopefully, Jayon's able to play. They can throw Jayon at him. They can throw Vaccaro at him. They can throw Logan Ryan at him, and just give him a lot of different looks, a lot of different ways that he has to play. And make things, as tough as you possibly can for him, I think is the best move. But, hopefully Jayon can play and be able to give him that physicality, not only in the passing game, but in the running game as well.
Yeah. So when I was kind of going to the aspect of talking about Rashaan Evans, I thought Rashaan Evans was a lot of time in that Baltimore Ravens game, the spy on a Lamar Jackson. I thought Rashaan Evans was a lot of times the guy who would mirror Lamar Jackson, and I think it's going to be very similar. He's not going to run like Lamar Jackson is, but he's not a statue, and he's going to make some plays. So keeping him in that pocket and having a guy like Rashaan Evans who's constantly going to mirror that, I think it's very critical for him to have a big game, and whoever the Mike VRABEL and Dan Pease come up with the game plan to shut down Travis Kelce, I think that's what has to happen for this Tennessee Titan defense. I think the story of this game will be the Tennessee Titans defense. If they don't get the job done, I think the Titans could be in trouble. I think the Titans offense will put up points. I'm not too worried about the Titans offense versus Kansas City's defense. I'm more concerned with, are the Tennessee Titans going to be able to slow down Kansas City? My ultimate prediction for the Tennessee Titans and Kansas City Chiefs game, I think the Titans find a way to put up points. Tennessee Titans 31, and I think the Titans defense, who have came up big all postseason long, find a way to continue that pattern. Titans 31, Kansas City 28, and I think you're talking about a Tennessee Titan Super Bowl 54 appearance. And boy, would that just be a day in Nashville, and 2 weeks in Nashville, and 2 weeks on the Coach Plays of excitement, guys. So that's my prediction. That's Coach Flatt's prediction. Trevor Bolin says Byard is getting an interception on Sunday. I think that would be big. Catfish Terry says, my gut says Titans win same way as Patriots. Game low scoring, game shutting Chiefs down 24-13, which still wouldn't shock me. It still wouldn't shock me with the weather and everything like that. And the Chiefs coming off of a high, and like I could still see low scoring game. It's just that's what's going to make this game interesting. It could go very different ways. Mouse C says Titans 40-33. And NGB Talk is in the house. He says Super Bowls. Guys, if you ain't got enough Tennessee Titan Talk, NGB Talk will be going live tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Central Time. And if you ain't got enough Coach Plays, I'm going to be with NGB Talk at 10 a.m. on his YouTube channel. So if you don't have him, guys, go lock him down and be ready for that. NGB Talk says, 40-33, more like it. All right, so that's going to do it for this one, guys. I think everybody until now, till Sunday at 2, I think our nerves are just going to be going. As a reminder, the AFC Championship game, I will have a live play-by-play of that at 2 o'clock. So if you're always one of the ones who come in there, don't forget that. If you haven't yet joined some of my live watch-alongs, come in there, and we just all react to every single play of that whole game, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Coach Flat, as always, I appreciate you very much coming on here. It's been a while. It's been a few weeks since you've been on the Coach Plays YouTube channel, and I hope we get you back on here very quickly, and I hope we get you back on here talking about a Tennessee Titans Super Bowl matchup with either the 49ers or the Packers. So I'll give you any final comments you got.
Tighten up.
There you go. He's going to keep it nice and simple. Tighten up.
Everything.
Take everything, guys. So as we wrap this up, put in the comments, blow it up. Hashtag tighten up. Hashtag take everything. Hashtag Super Bowl. Let's go. Guys, let's get excited. The nerves are going to be there, but the moment that ball gets kicked off, let the nerves go and enjoy every single minute of it, guys. But once again, I appreciate you joining the Coach Plays YouTube channel. For everyone who hit that like button, thank you very much. For anyone who shared the stream out, thank you. The conversation was great. We constantly had about 23 people in the box, so I appreciate each and every single one of you. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the Coach Plays YouTube channel, consider doing so because we're having a lot of fun and we're growing. Hashtag road to 1K. So thank you very much, Coach Flat. And guys, until next time, peace.